Right. So I'm here to talk today about the plank, and I'm going to show you 4 mistakes that I see a lot when doing planks. All pretty easily correctable to one degree or another, but I'm going to show them to you and go over, and I'll give you some insight on what's wrong about them. And then I'm going to show you 3 exercises to help improve your plank, and assuming that the reason you want to improve your plank is to improve your core strength to begin with. So the first, let me show you a few issues. We'll start with an easy one to see, and I can show you right now, is when we're holding a plank, right? The first thing I see a lot of is my head is up. Okay, I'm looking straight ahead rather than looking at the floor. Now, I have a lot of clients that I work with, and they always complain, my neck is tight, my shoulders are tight, I get pinches in my neck. Well, all we're doing, right, when we're holding, I'll just show it from the knees here, when holding a plank and we're looking up, it's just putting undue pressure on the cervical spine on the neck. There's no need. You don't need to do it. Maintain a neutral spine. Unless you are specifically training those neck muscles for something, and most of us are not, there's no need for it. I should preface with saying, I am a big believer and there's no such thing really as bad form, as long as, or I should say incorrect form. There is bad form, but you want to do the form for the purpose of your exercise. So if your purpose is to develop injury resilience and a strong core, then most of the time having that neck extended is not what you want to do, right? We want to maintain a neutral spine as much as possible. So that's an easy one. So just the way to ask yourself is, hey, you're looking at the floor. Now don't drop your head. That's another one, right? But you want to just maintain a neutral spine. You should have no creases in the back of your neck. If I were to come around and look at the back of your neck, I should see no wrinkles in the back of your neck. All right, so that's the first one. That's a pretty easy one to correct. The next one, from a low plank position. A lot of times people come to a low plank, and I'm going to look up, just like I said, not to, just so you can hear me, but generally don't. You come to a low plank, and their hands are right here. They're together. Or they grab them like this, or maybe their arms are even out this wide, right? So, again, it's another postural issue. This is internally rotating. Most of us, we're really internally rotated anyway. We have real poor thoracic or upper back mobility. We have a lot of low back pain or neck pain again. So all we're doing here is feeding into that. So what we want to do is keep the hands directed straight ahead, all right? So whether you're up on your fists like this, it's really not that important. I like to have them flat. My forearms are directed straight out. My elbows are always right underneath. My shoulders are just thereabouts, okay? And I hold my plank here. Okay, pretty simple. So catch yourself. You're going to want, a lot of people do this. They pull their hands in together and they hold their plank like this, and sometimes even wider, right? When your elbows are way out there, it's just an inefficient use of your energy. So as a recap there, we want, whether it's a high plank or a low plank, your wrists, if it's a high plank, it should be your wrists. And if it's a low plank, it should be your elbows, should be just about directly under your shoulders. You don't want them too wide, right? You want them there to support you, and we come up. Feet, elbows, hands all on the same train track. Neutral spine, looking at the ground. All right, third tip. Shoulder blades should be protracted. So from a side view, that's the difference between here. You can see my shoulder blades, my neck's kind of hanging, and pushing up. Here, right? So my shoulder blades are protracted. It means I'm pushing my arms to the ground. I'm trying to push my chest away from the floor. So when I hold a plank, that's the difference between my shoulder blades aren't protracted here. It's real, it makes it a lot harder. It's hard on my shoulders. I'm putting more pressure up here on my neck. What I want to do is pop those shoulders up. All right, I'll walk forward this way. And then I have a slightly round or hollow body shape, right? I have a banana shape from my feet to my hips to my shoulders. And if I drop my shoulders, it's a lot harder to hold that shape. So that's tip number 3 and number 4, really. So shoulder blades protracted, and the 4th tip is you want to straight to a slightly rounded position in a plank. You don't want this, where my hips are sagging. All we're doing here, again, if the purpose of your plank is to increase core strength and build not just the abs, but the low back, the hips, everything basically from between the knees and the rib cage, if that's your goal to strengthen that area, then all you're doing by letting the hips drop here is letting the lumbar spine, the bones of the back, hold the weight. You know, if you think about a bridge, it's more of like a rope bridge between two sides that kind of sags in the middle. Not a lot of support there, not a lot of strength. It's going to wobble back and forth. It's going to hold the weight, but you'd rather walk across a nice firm concrete structure probably. So 4 tips on ways to improve your plank and increase core strength. So here's some exercises, real simple exercises that you can do, 3 of them. The first one, these are just shoulder blades. We're going to work on protracting and retracting the shoulders. So we're just coming to a kneeling position. I'm always going to start by drawing my navel in, like trying to be as skinny as you can, and then you're going to squeeze your abs, like somebody's going to punch you in the stomach. So you want to hold that position, right? So as I'm sitting here, my back isn't arching. I draw my navel and squeeze the abs. And what I'm going to start to do is try to push my shoulders as high as I can, and then drop them. Up and down. Now, when you first start doing this, you may not feel much of a movement. You may only get like this much, right? You may not get much. But what I want to try to do over time is learn how to articulate my shoulder more, protract my shoulders, retract, drop them down, protract, retract. And you can sit there and do 10 to 20 reps, or do it for a minute, hold at the top and the bottom for 1 count, and down. It doesn't need to be a huge motion in the beginning. It probably will not be a big movement in the beginning. Usually when people first start doing these, it's as simple as kind of here. It's real little, right? You just don't have it's not that the muscles are weak, although they may be. It's usually more of a neuromuscular coordination. Your brain isn't sure what you're trying to get your body to do, so it's figuring it out. All right, so that's the first one. The next one is one of my favorite exercises. It's the dead bug. So you're gonna come in your back, almost like you're gonna do a crunch here, right? So you're gonna sit on your back, and the first thing you're gonna do again is you're gonna draw that navel in and squeeze the abs. Okay, and it's real important you do this before you start this exercise. So we're gonna draw the navel and squeeze the abs. I'm gonna put my hands straight up, and the next thing is I'm gonna try to get my low back in contact with the ground. So I'm drawing my navel and squeezing my abs, pushing my low back into the floor, and then I'm going to raise my legs up. Now the angle here should be a 90-degree angle between my hips and my knees. And my low back is still in contact with the ground here. If you don't try to squeeze the abs and draw them in and pull the low back down before you lift, chances are you're going to look more like this, and you can see my hand can get underneath my low back a lot further. Right? I mean, my back's pretty low anyway. What's happening is rather than bracing your abs and protecting your spine, you're flexing your hip flexors first to lift, and your back is fighting against your hip flexors, or your abs are fighting against your hip flexors to stabilize the spine. So this move, just a standard dead bug, you're going to hold it for up to 60 seconds. Right? So we're just here, draw that low back, draw the navel in, squeeze the abs. Right? Lift the legs and hold. Feet, arms, shoulders, hands, all on the same line. So my knees aren't out and my feet aren't, or my knees aren't in and my feet are out, or my knees aren't out and my feet are in. Everything's here, and I'm just holding. What you want to do is breathe into the belly. So you should see that belly rise and fall. Try to relax the shoulders here. I see a lot of shoulders like this and up around the neck. Relax the shoulders. If you can get them to the ground, great. And hold. And you're just going to hold that for 30 to 60 seconds. All right. Once you've mastered that dead bug, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on that hollow body. This is really going to teach that positioning of the plank where we've got that slightly rounded body, right? That banana shape that we want in the plank. So we're going to start just like in the dead bug position. Okay. We're going to come up, same thing. Draw the low back down, draw the navel in, squeeze the abs, lift the knees. One cue that helps with pushing that low back to the ground is if you put your hands on top of your knees here and try to push down on your knees and push the knees into your hands, raise your knees toward the ceiling, it will help you learn how to fire that low back to the ground. So we're going to come to the dead bug, draw that navel and squeeze the abs before you lift the legs. Then you're going to straighten your legs and arms, and you're going to lower the arms and the legs. Point the toes, bring the arms in together, or feet in together, and lower. Now,
You're going to lower until you feel the low back come off the ground. For me, I can hold it all the way out here. For you, it might be to here. So as soon as you feel that low back come off the ground, you're going to feel that low back arch. Bring it back and hold at the end of that movement and hold there. And slowly try to lower a little bit further and hold. Your goal is to get to here with the low back firmly on the floor. That's going to teach your body how to hold that shape. Again, the purpose of a plank for most of us, for anybody I work with, is to condition and strengthen the core. And so we want those abs to protect our spine when we're moving. That is the point of the plank, so that we can develop power and push or pull or kick or throw or whatever it is we might be doing without losing energy, without putting our spine at risk. So 3 exercises. You got your shoulder blade protraction and retractions. You've got your dead bug, which is, I do those a lot. I really love the dead bug. You cannot underestimate it. It doesn't look like you're doing anything. If you're in the gym and doing dead bug, people are probably looking at you like, what's that guy doing or that lady doing? And then the hollow body, which is a lot harder. But the hollow body will tell you your range of motion, even in your plank. If you can't get to a decent hollow body position somewhere around here, chances are, then when you're doing a plank, you're seeing a lot of this, dropping the hips, right? So we want to come back into that plank, protract the shoulders, tuck the hips under, squeeze the hips toward the chest, and hold. All right, I'm happy to answer questions. It's really hard to give real in-depth detail on each of those exercises in such a short amount of time, but hopefully these will help bring your plank game and therefore your core strength to the next level. If you have questions, hit me up in the comments below. Please like, share this with people you think might need help with doing planks. I see almost everybody I see doing a plank the first time, before they come work with me, doing them quote unquote incorrectly. One way or another, or a way they could improve their planks. So share this video, help people improve their planks, help them reduce their back pain and improve their core strength. And I'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.